Hello all, welcome back to another interesting story under the Azadi Ka Amrit Mahotsav story series by Mommy Storm Musings. Today I'm going to take you to one of the another beautiful states in the northeastern part of India, which has more number of names than its original name, which is being called by different names by different people. Interesting, isn't it? Yes, my dear friends, we are going to the jewel land of India. That is none other than Manipur. As the name itself suggests, it's the place where monies or the jewels are available. The reason why it's being called as jewel land is because of its fertility, its location, its beauty, and everything. In fact, Pandit Jawaharlal Nehru has also mentioned, termed Manipur as the jewel land of India. But it's not only about being the pride of India or being the Scotland of India or whatever you want to call it, but it also acted as the first defense line for all the Eastern invasions that came to Eastern invasions. Do you know a lot of Eastern invasions happened right from our ancient time till the most modern World War II and time? No, right? Because we our defense line in the eastern side, which is Manipur, is very strong, and they had countered away all the invasions in a very brave manner. Surprising, isn't it? Unfortunately, we haven't heard much about how these Manipuri barriers or the Manipuri kings have stopped all the invasions that happened from the eastern side of India. Then you must be wondering, eastern side of India means who else would be invading? Yes, my dear friends. It's basically, if you see the location of Manipur, it's sharing its international borders with Myanmar and Bangladesh. And Myanmar is always the easy target for Chinese to attack and come, and that's the easiest route for Chinese to enter into India. Despite being all on the battleground, this is a place which is actually a melting pot of different cultures and traditions. Out of 12 months in a year, if you will not see even a single month where there is no festival or there is no real, cultural event that happens in Manipur. Every month they'll be having some or other cultural events or some or other festivals. And these people are the most peaceful people and most friendly people whom you encounter in the entire Northeast or even in the entire India for that matter. Manipuri hills are more or less occupied by tribals from Nagaland and Manipur. We had read it in even in the Nagaland. And, when we're talking about legends of Nagaland, I also spoke about how people from Nagaland had migrated to Manipur and some to Assam as well, right? Since Manipuri people are more intelligent and more hardworking, even the Tripura kings used to have a lot of matrimonial alliances with the Manipuri tribal chieftains. The most popular tribes in Manipur are Kukis and Meiteis. Kukis are the people who migrated from Nagaland to Manipur, and Meiteis are the original tribes of Manipur. And Meiteis meaning here is me. Mai is me, individual. T means special. As far as the legend of Manipur goes, the Manipuris are really special, and the king, the first king who was orally known to be the first king of Manipur, which is around 33rd common era times, is Pakangba. And he is supposed to be, this is a legend that gets carried forward in the oral way. When we don't have any documentary evidence as such about this Pakamba's rule or how he is and stuff like that, the story goes like that way. This way that Pakamba is a human being but will turn into half man and half serpent with a long tail when any invaders come and attack Manipur. And that is the reason why nobody could invade Manipur as such. Maybe it is because of the natural boundaries which Manipur has, which is nine hills surrounding it, or maybe it's true that Pakamba is such a big barrier. We don't know because half of the history, or let me say, three-fourths of the history of Manipur got erased as it's being passed in the oral form from one generation to the other generation. If you go and talk to any native Manipuri people, then they'll tell you lot many stories which they have heard from their ancestors, forefathers. Unfortunately, because we those that information doesn't pass on to the Indian main subcontinent, we are at a loss about the Manipuri history and traditions. The first written confirmation about how Manipur was acting as a battleground for most of the things It starts with Shah Jahan's time. Shah Jahan tried capturing Manipur because he felt that to stop Burma invasions on India and to lay hands on Burma and expand his territory towards further into eastern side of India, Manipur is a very critical part. And so he attacked Manipur. He tried attacking Manipur a couple of times, and every time it's King Kagemba, the ruler in the late 16th and early 17th century, defeated Shah Jahan's army multiple times. And in fact, every time he had taken a lot of soldiers as a prisoners of war. And he again thinks that the army people who are fighting on behalf of the king are not the real culprits. The people, he has issues only with Shah Jahan and his political policies, and not with the people who are coming as a army battalions to fight with them. So, though he had taken prisoners, the army battalion people whom they have captured as prisoners of war, he had given them full freedom, and he had included them, he had made them as a part of his kingdom and gave them all liberties. And all these people who had become who actually were caught as prisoners of war got converted to Manipuri, converted as Manipuri citizens, and they started working as carpenters, blacksmiths, weavers, and had taken up a lot of professions, even the farmers. Slowly, but that is not the all. Then, as I already told you, Manipur is the hub for China or Burma to occupy and to enter into India, right? So everybody tried to invade Manipur in one form or other. Either China was coming to attack Manipur, or Burma kept on coming in attacking Manipur. So till the time Kagemba was there, Manipur was giving them a strong line of defense, and they were not able, none of the Chinese kings or the Myanmar kings were able to enter into India. In fact, King Kagemba caught a lot of Burma and Chinese army soldiers once again as prisoners of war, and with them he got to know the technology of brick preparation. Amazing, isn't it? Till that point of time, bricks were not known in Manipur, and they have used the bricks for the first time and built the famous humped arch bridge on the Nambul River in Manipur, and they are the first ones who had built the complex called Kangla Fort near Imphal, the current capital of Manipur. And you can see two huge lions sitting on front of the fort, isn't it? There is a very interesting story here. Manipuris believe that these are the leographs, which are the mystic creatures which guard their empire in the absence of king. If suppose the king is not able to guard Manipuris or their entire kingdom, these leographs take the human form or the lion form and go and attack the enemies and destroy the enemies. In fact, the Kangla fort, which we are seeing here, is not just a fort for them. It's a place where their entire ancestry, the roots for their entire ancestry, their culture, their traditions, everything is linked to this Kangla fort. Manipuris treat Kangla fort, as though it's like a demigod. They really don't want to lose that fort at any cost. But unfortunately, moving forward to 1826, they lost their war with Burma, and that is when they started extending their arm of friendship to Britishers who are more powerful when compared to Burma at that point of time, and asking their help in fighting against Burma. And Britishers, as usual, very cunningly agreed for this friendship and helped them in conquering, basically in sending the Burman invaders back to their home. And after that, because they had done this favor, they told that the Manipuri kings have to become proctorates of British Empire, which means Manipuri kings will retain their sovereignty, but still have to their external foreign affairs or their any troubles that happen in the internal administration will be reported back to the British Empire. At that point of time, it's like the Queen Elizabeth, right? Do you know that Manipur is and that is the time when actually Manipur, the polo game was introduced to Britishers. Manipuris play this polo game, which is a traditional game for them right from the ancient times. And Britishers got to know this game and they started spreading this game to the other parts of Europe, and that's how polo got really world famous. Then, I mean, as usual, in any state's history, if we see, the Britishers go with their friendship reason. I mean, using friendship as an excuse, they make the kings as protectorates. Still, they'll not be happy with that. They'll try to annex that state, isn't it? In the similar way, the Anglo-Manipur War has happened in 1891 because they felt that the current king in 1891 is not able to manage the kingdom in a proper way. As usual, the doctrine lapse is being used as a tool there, but the king has given all his might and best to fight against the Britishers and lost, unfortunately, and became part of the entire British Empire. So the king also has to start paying the taxes. They came under the British Empire rule and they lost their sovereignty basically. And post that, I mean, fast forward to 1947 when India got freedom. Manipur has again, once again, the last king of Manipur, who is Maharaja Bodhchandra, signed the treaty for Manipur to join the Indian Union instead of the Pakistan, which is, I think, is a good gesture from his end. And there is one interesting story which I want to tell you once again about the Leographia. After Britishers won the 1891 war, they started destroying once again the Kangla fort. Once the Burma invaders destroyed Kangla fort, and then again these Britishers started destroying the Kangla fort. In fact, the Britishers are the ones who had destroyed the Leographs as well because they couldn't. I mean, basically, they couldn't digest the fact that this is becoming the cultural hub. This is becoming a, I mean, revered place for Manipuris. And if so, they thought that if they destroy this Kangla fort, then they are going to attack on the confidence, on the sentiments of Manipur, and then Manipuris will come into their grip, which is not a very good thought, I would say. But still, whatever it happened has happened already in the history, right? We cannot change it. So they destroyed all the Leographs. Then later, only as in 2007, Manipuri government has rebuilt these Leographs in front of the Kongla fort, where exactly they were located in the earlier times. So now you know, right? Manipur is the first line of defense for all the eastern invasions, and they are the ones who have stopped the Burma invasion, the China invasions to India, isn't it? After hearing all these different war stories, you must be thinking that Manipur might not be highly educated or might not be a very well developed state, and they might not be peaceful state, right? Because they've been going through so many wars, and always the king is always fighting. But no, my dear friends, Manipur is one of the most highly educated states within India. In fact, their education rate percentage is higher than 80% as of today, and that is why, unfortunately, most of the Manipuri youth have to go out of their own homeland in search of jobs to all over the India. In fact, as recently as 6 months down the line, I mean, 6 months earlier, we heard one incident saying like one of the Manipuri girl was taken to a side in the Indira Gandhi International Airport in Delhi because she didn't look like an Indian origin. Come on, my dear friends. Manipur is a northeastern state, and there are a lot of people who have come down to Manipur because of all these invasions. Uh, we also saw, right, how Manipuri kings were giving asylum to so many prisoners of war, and obviously their face cut might not resemble us, but they are Indians at the end of the day. If we ourselves are not able to recognize the Manipuri people as our own Indians, how will other countries in outside India will recognize? Isn't it? So I think the reason behind this is that we Indians are not really aware of what is happening in the northeastern part of the India. So we should be more and more knowing about Manipur and other northeastern states, and we should start intermingling with each other. And Manipur is a place which has given us the Ras Leela, the famous Ras Leela dance, which is again a form of worship for Lord Krishna. So that's all, my dear friends, about the today's story about Manipur. Let's meet next time with another interesting story. Till then, bye bye.